Hello and welcome to the program. My name is Emmanuel Kodia. There is the notice. While the opposition National Democratic Congress primaries nears as candidates ramp up their campaigning, former President Mahama, Kojobuntu, and Dr. Kwabena Duffuor are pushing harder to get their message to the heart of delegates. However, Mahama has been traversing the country seeking help from delegates, as well as tackling the current government over economic hardships, while Dr. Kwabena Duffuor and Mahama remains the key contenders in these primaries on May 13th, 2023, as both served in the party from 2008 to 2016. Dr. Kwabena Duffuor was the finance minister under the late president, Professor Mills, from 2009 to 2012, while Mahama was the vice president and president from 2008 to 2016. Previously, Mahama criticized Dr. Kwabena Duffuor for being too old to run as the party's presidential candidate. But Dr. Kwabena Duffuor said no form of insult will prevent him from delivering his project.
No amount of insults, attacks will stop me from what I want to do for you. Nothing. What did I give my salary to Ghana? 4 years, never took a peso.
Okay.
No. I formed my first company in 1984. Okay? 1984. Records are there.
That is it.
When people talk about house financing, I have so many companies. But I'm not the talking type. It's not my nature. 1984, how about you were even born? And go to Register General and check Star Assurance. When was it registered? 1984. Why do you talk like that? I just want to help. I worked for 4 years. Did I take salary? No. Maybe my ex-gratia, I gave it to you, Ghana. That's my reward. I want us to help strengthen the country, strengthen the party. It will affect everybody. Let's get together. Let's help one another.
Earlier, I spoke on Zoom with a party supporter and the communications director for TAIN, Tertiary Education Institutions Network of the National Democratic Congress at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Let's have a listen. What can you tell us about these primaries? Are we to expect something different? Yeah, we know 3 candidates are contesting, but will there be any difference comparing it to the last primaries that we had in 2020? Are we to expect something different in these primaries on 30th May?
Oh, yeah. I think we are actually expecting something new because most of the candidates who will be coming are very resourceful and some of them are coming from experience. Most of them have actually contested before. So the person is actually coming with enormous experience. And if you made a mistake, let's say last year, it will be very difficult for you to repeat the same mistake in the subsequent year. So most of them have learned their mistake and it can actually come with surprises. So we are to expect more. And aside that, even aside the presidential, with the parliamentary elections as well, we have a lot of youth who have actually gathered the courage to aspire for such positions. So, hello. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. A lot of young people have actually gathered the courage to contest on the ticket of the NDC for members of parliament. That clearly shows that the NDC is a party that actually gives opportunities to the youth as well. So we are expecting more. We are not expecting anything less.
All right. So as you were speaking, you said the NDC gives opportunity to the youth. For the presidential election, looking at the number of candidates contesting, we have only 3 candidates. Former President Mahama, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, and Kojobuntu. Given opportunity to the youth. Looking at the fee that was on the form, if you pick a form, I mean the amount that you're supposed to pay, which is approximately 5 billion, 500,000 Ghana cedis. Is it not huge? Is it not huge for people to pick the form that is limiting the number to only 3 for the presidential election?
I don't think it's the money is actually the problem, but it depends on the candidates that you are aspiring with. Because here is the case that former president has been a president before and he's coming with the experience, like I said, and he wants to contest again. Duffuor too is somebody, Dr. Duffuor is someone who has paid his dues to the party and Mother Ghana. So they are resourceful as well. And most of the young people too are resourceful, because 500,000, if you are a politician and you want to aspire for president, before you think of liberating people from poverty, you must be able to liberate yourself first. That is, if you want to be a president. So I feel it's not even about the money, but the people that they are going to contest with, because it's to be very difficult for you to win an election against the or former President Mahama or any of them, please.
Yeah, but anyway, maybe you should have given them some slots. Anything can happen. If the money had come down a little bit, maybe the youths could have also joined.
Presidential ambition, right? The floor was open to anyone who has a presidential ambition, just that it was only 3 people who availed themselves to actually contest.
All right, so you said former President Mahama is coming. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You are saying former President Mahama is coming with a fresh experience. Before, I don't know, but before, would you say, he wasn't having any experience, or he has gathered experience over the couple of years now?
No experience. Leadership is about service, and when you serve more, you begin to learn a lot. So let's say mistakes that you did in the past, it will be very difficult for you to repeat that, because this time around you've been there before. It actually doesn't mean he doesn't have experience. He's rather having it more. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right, so I just want to ask you my last question before you take leave of me. Will this election be a closed one? Looking at what you're saying, former President Mahama coming with new experience, and Dr. Kwabena Dufour also has served as the finance minister under the late president, Professor Mills. Will this election be a closed one? It appears, these 2 candidates are the key contenders, Dr. Kwabena Dufour and former President Mahama. Will this election be a closed one, looking at their past experiences in the party?
Okay, thank you. Election is sometimes full of surprises, but it depends on the reality on the ground. That is what the people, the delegates want. And people feel that at this juncture, it is JM who stands tall. When you are presenting the candidates, you have to present someone that everybody knows, and it is very simple for even a child to notice him. And I feel John Mahama has that kind of influence, and he's known in the nation, right? So I don't expect any, and I've been watching their campaign tours. I've watched the JM's campaign tour. I've watched Dr. Dufour's campaign tour as well. And the number of people who have been clamoring and trooping at John Dramani Mahama's campaign tour is quite interesting, and it actually shows that his chance of winning is very, very high. And I don't think the gap will be close or anything. I feel it will even be like the one that happened in the previous 4 years. Yes.
All right. So is this election going to be like we are voting because of popularity? As you were saying, former President Mahama, everybody knows him. He's famous. Yes, he has served as a former president before. Is this election going to be in terms of popularity?
With elections, popularity counts. If you are a candidate and you are unable to sell yourself well to delegates, how then do they even notice you too and vote for you, right? So it's part and parcel of everything.
In former President Mahama's campaign, as part of his campaign trail, he said something. He said he's not going to make promises. In 2008, the NDC didn't make promise. In 2012, the NDC didn't make any promise. 2016 and 2020. So in 2024, he's saying he's not going to make promises. All that he's going to do is to work hard for the Ghanaian people. Now, if you talk about promises, promises are your policies. And he's going about traversing the country saying he's not going to make promises. How then do we believe that if we entrust this nation to you, you have this for us? You have this policy at hand for us? Dennis, did you get what I said?
Yes, he actually meant that he's not going to make extravagant promises. I mean, promises that is not achievable. There are some politicians who actually make extravagant promises just to win political power. But JM is somebody who makes promises which are feasible to attain, right? He has made a promise. He said he's going to scrap ex gratia when he's giving the mandate again to serve as a president. And he said he's going to actually form an advisory council, governance advisory council. These are promises, right? And going back to our 2020 manifesto, the People's Manifesto, we went to the ground and spoke to majority of Ghanaians, and they told us their concerns, some of the things that they wish. So when he says he doesn't want to make promises, he won't be promising us heaven, whilst he knows right now we are in hell and we have to take ourselves from hell before we go to heaven. So please, that's the point he wants to make, I think.
Well, the last point that you raise is raising few eyebrows. We are in hell, and he's taking us to heaven. What? I mean, can you clarify on that?
Oh yes, when I say we are in hell, when you take something like interest rate is hovering around about 45%. So even the young Ghanaian person who wants to do a business cannot even go for loans, with the exception of expanding his business or that. When you take inflation, is a whopping 45%. I mean, we are in hard times. We are in excruciating hardships. We can't even pay our creditors. We can't. Our pensioners are also crying, right? Our debt is unsustainable, and sovereign rating agencies keep downgrading us. So this clearly shows that we are in a ditch, and we must think of how prudent measures that we can take to actually get out of these things before we think of other things.
And then one of the prudent ways for this government is that they are seeking IMF bailout. Don't you think that is also good? That is going to cushion the economy. I mean, make everything better in this country.
But like the thing is, when you are pushing for an IMF bailout, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've gotten the support or the help that you want from them, right? This is a government which is not willing to cut down expenditure to actually get help, right? But has rather resorted to other stuff. So you can only get support from IMF when you let IMF see that you are prudent, right? When you cut down the borrowing. Just recently, I was reading something, and the government is planning on securing another $750 million loan. Your debt is on the chart, right? The waste and all the profit legacy, we should just cut it down. But the government is not willing to listen. So how can you even secure the IMF support to actually say that you want to do something for Ghanaians? So that is the problem that we are having now.
Okay. All right. So I must say I'm very grateful for your time and then for this insight. Thank you very much, Dennis Akowa. It's a pleasure to talk to you, sir. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.